Welcome to Fusing Topics with the Mikulka Room. My name is Johnny and this is Pete. We're over here at 275 Route 79 North in Morganville, and you could always reach us at 855-MIKULKA.
So, Johnny, that was a good intro.
Thanks.
Christine, you agree?
That was
pretty good, man.
Right.
We're very supportive of Johnny and his intros.
Getting so much better.
Yes, he is.
Each episode.
Okay, so today we thought it would be interesting to talk about what it actually takes to become an electrical contractor. And the reason for this is because of the labor shortages, the material hikes, the increase in prices in the trade world, and how busy the construction world is right now. We're getting a huge influx of young people that want to become electrical contractors or plumbers or mechanical contractors. Right. There's kind of been a lot of talk about, college and student debt and student loans and people carrying a lot of loans,
right,
and then not being able to find work and that sort of thing. And then also the skill set that they learn in college, maybe not even really applicable
right,
to the field that they end up in. And also, how much can you make in the trades was always really the issue of why you needed to go to college, how
right,
hard you have to work,
right,
and the ceiling that you can make.
Mm-hmm.
So in the state of New Jersey, though, you can become an electrical contractor,
Mm-hmm.
a licensed plumbing contractor, a licensed mechanical contractor, and you're the only person on the planet that is allowed to do certain things in the state of New Jersey.
Right.
There is nobody else that can do these things. So in states that have rigid licensing requirements, it does help those of us that acquire the license because it's a much smaller pool of people that can do that actual work.
Right.
So we thought it would be interesting to tell you what that's like. We have a couple people in the apprenticeship program here
Mm-hmm.
in our electrical company, and everybody's always surprised to kind of find out, because you kind of hear like, oh, so, I take a couple classes, I got to be in the field for a while, and then I go take my test, right? And that's actually what I thought. I thought because my father had done it, and I kind of watched him, as I was growing up, I watched him get his license. I watched him go into business. I had no idea
Right.
what it took,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I just thought I would just rattle off a couple of the things that it takes. So first off, the thing to understand as well is when you get an electrical contractor's license, it is only good in the state that you get it in. So if I wanted to go we're 45 minutes outside of New York City. So if somebody called me from New York City, where I can probably get 4 times as much money to do a job, let's say in Manhattan, that I can in Woodbridge, New Jersey, I can't just go there and work. So my license is only good for the state of New Jersey. If you want to work in New York, you got to go get a New York license. If you want to work in Delaware, you got to get a Delaware license. It used to be that some states were reciprocal. Now that's not the case. New Jersey's not reciprocal with anybody. So you're only licensed in the state of New Jersey. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get a job as an electrician or an electrical apprentice. Not easy because you have no experience.
Right.
So that's a tough gig because you got to get hired
Right.
out of the gate with absolutely no experience whatsoever. At that point, you have to enroll in an apprenticeship program, a licensed apprenticeship program. So this is what I did. I was fortunate. My dad hired me with no experience,
Right.
but also he started giving me experience when I was like 13 years old, digging ditches and, loading big reels of wire. So it was have a job, work all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 or 3 nights a week, you have to go to night school.
Mm-hmm.
And you go and sit in night school and you learn the theory and the codes, right? The
Right.
codes, the standards, the applications, all the book work that has to come with it.
And so you have to do that
Yeah.
to get
Well,
an electrical contractor's license.
yeah, at this point you do. There used to be some
Okay.
rules that you didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you could kind of say that you were in the field long enough.
Okay.
So you have a guy that's been an electrician for 20 years.
Right.
And he could get a couple of his bosses to sign off,
Okay.
right? But now apprenticeship programs are the big thing, right? So apprenticeship program, and you need 5 years in the field.
Right.
So you need to do this night school thing for 4 solid years. Work, go to night school for 4 years. The 5th year is either, most people do it on the front end. They do their work for a year and then they join the program. I suggest that to see if you like it, because there's no point in jumping into a school and paying for a school if you don't even like the trade.
Right.
So if you work in the trade for a year, you like it, you start going to school.
Right.
Then after 5 years, you can apply to take your test, which you have to have a high school diploma for. And I think you have to have a valid driver's license too in the state of New Jersey. So that's a 3-part test. Takes about all day. Most people cannot pass it the first time without taking more classes. So you have to take more classes just to be able to take the test. You take the test, you have to pass all 3. If you don't pass all 3, then you have to go back and take it again.
Oh,
right?
you have to take all 3 again.
No. You can take the one part.
Okay, you pass that
Right.
one. Good.
So now
Okay.
you've been doing this for 5 years.
Right.
You finally pass your test.
Yeah.
You have a little card that says you're an electrical contractor. But now you have to apply for a business permit.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to apply for a business permit Then, if you want to open up a business, you have to apply for a business permit in your state as a company, whether it's an LLC, whatever, right? Then, once you apply for that business, they're going to ask you for insurance, business liability insurance, workman's comp insurance, vehicle insurance. If you're doing any kind of commercial work, you need errors and omissions insurance. Now you need a vehicle. The vehicle has to be commercially registered, and it has to be lettered in a very specific way. So all your vehicles, to the point of like how big the lettering has to be. Right. So by the time that you take your test, you're about halfway to actually being able to walk into somebody's house and legally perform electrical, plumbing, or mechanical work. And so when I thought I got my license, I got that little card in the mail, a little thing that says I passed the test. I was like, I'm in. My dad's like, yeah, wait a minute, man. And so there's quite a lot to it. And I say that for a couple of reasons. I say that because not to discourage anybody, but to also just let you know that there's a lot of work to it. And also, an electrician is a trade, right? You call an electrician, he comes to your house. You really have no idea what that entails for that person to have become a licensed electrical contractor. So by the time that we're a licensed electrical contractor, we have been through a lot of testing, a lot of classes, a lot of safety. And then also, don't forget, every couple of years, we have to go in for re-education. So to keep our license valid, we have to go back in.
We just did that.
Right, for 36 hours every couple of years and do that as well. So it's quite a bit. And it's quite a bit to keep that license active. If you're thinking about becoming an electrical contractor, it is certainly worth it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the business. I've always enjoyed, having my own business. We like people. We like to deal with people, and we love the customer service business. So it's a rewarding career, and we love it over here at Mikulka. But what Johnny loves even more, and what he wants to talk about today, is what?
Kind of the foundation of funk, or the evolution of funk, or the origins of funk music.
Right. So now when you talk about funk, throw out some names that you're thinking. Because you're thinking about foundations, or you're thinking like where funk went, like in the set, like
where it came from, and definitely where it went. Okay. And so it's hard not to talk about funk without talking about the godfather of soul, Mr. James Brown, because he took it to another level, a level that wasn't done before. But when I think about the dawn of funk music, George Clinton. George Clinton was in a band called Parliament, Funkadelic, and then there was the P-Funk All-Stars. And he did something that nobody did before, on every level, not just the sound, but also lyrically. I mean, he was putting it out there. He wasn't pulling any punches. A
lot of the artists in the 70s were you listen to those lyrics. You have songs that that stick in your head because the groove is so good. But then you actually listen to the lyrics. You're like, oh man, these guys were laying it down, putting the heavy message out there. I was in a band. Up until a couple of years ago, where the guys, especially the bass player, so bass player was heavily into funk and stuff. And what I learned about playing funk music on the guitar, especially because I'm a novice guitar player, I'm not a great guitar player. I also learned this when I watched the James Brown movie or whatever. In that kind of music, the guitar is really used as a percussion instrument. It's more percussive than it is. They do all that noodling and stuff with and you get some really cool licks sometimes. The Isley Brothers. The Isley Brothers, Fight the Power. We used to play Fight the Power by the Isley Brothers. And I mean, that has some really, really cool guitar work in it, but it's really, the mainstay of it is to be a percussive instrument.
Yeah, that was good. That's a really good point. Yeah, and the bass, like you said, it's a driving force.
Yeah.
In funk. Bootsy Collins. You have to get a picture of Bootsy Collins to flash up when I say that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Bootsy Collins?
No.
Well, he's a character.
Do you have a band that you would consider to be kind of a funky?
Yeah, say funky, right?
Because I think funky might mean something different today. Than it meant in the 70s.
Because then we'd have to talk about house music, and I know you want to throw in the disco.
Well, I'm a closet disco freak. So disco is
funk elements, absolutely, hands down. You can't take that away. No.
Yeah, and what I want to,
there'd be no disco without funk.
I agree.
Right, yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, because how did the Bee Gees
Like
go from what they were doing in the
what's that song
60s?
with a tear and laugh around the world, or what is it?
Right. There's so
The
many.
Mother's
Dude,
Good,
the Bee Gees are like crazy,
Yeah.
crazy prolific
Yes.
with their writing. But how did because
Right.
they had to
How'd they
get
go
from
that?
like
No
you don't know
doubt.
what it's like to love somebody
Yes.
to Saturday Night
Well, you
Fever,
gotta
and,
turn up on the
all that
weekends.
stuff. Yeah, like how did they get there? Had to be the funk
Right.
that did it. You wanted to mention Earth, Wind, and Fire too. Because
I
Earth,
think-
Wind, and Fire are
I think
crazy.
they got underrated.
They are crazy. Dude.
Okay, so they had a lot of hits.
We actually
right?
did an Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
But I think as a funk band, they maybe weren't recognized as such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know
of
who
the
was a
hits.
crazy funk band? The Ohio Players.
Yeah, man.
The Ohio Players were, and there's like 12 of them.
Right.
There's
Well,
like-
that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Parliament and Funkadelic.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
12 people running
It's
around, like
like,
playing all, just
It's
like
a high school
grooving.
band on stage.
Yeah, just grooving out. All right, well, listen, hey,
Yeah.
funk, the origins,
Right.
the evolution, where it's at today. It's up down to 275, Route 79 North in
Mhm.
Morganville. Talk about the evolutions
We'll
of
get
funk.
the funk out.
Yeah, get the funk out of here.
Yeah.
So- All right, guys. So take care. Be safe out there. And next time you want to hire a mechanical guy, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, remember, always hire licensed individuals. Make sure they have insurance, bonded with the state, licensed, and are all above board. Take care. See you next time. And don't forget to call 855 Mikulka.